What's up? My name is Neil. I'm an entrepreneur, clearly not cool enough to be on GQ, but these are my essentials that help me out every day. Now, do you need to go run to Amazon and order all of these items right after this video because they hold some sort of secret to success? No, but these are the items that help me on my entrepreneurship journeys, and who knows, maybe they help you out too. All right, let's just jump into it with item number 1, which is my Oura Ring, or the first thing that I can classify is a wearable health tracker. I mostly use this for sleep tracking. Most of entrepreneurship is just showing up, being consistent, having the energy to work long hours, and this Oura Ring helps me do that. It tells me how I slept and what my recovery levels are. Again, pretty great. And I will say any sort of health monitoring gadget will work, whether it's Whoop or an Apple Watch. Anything that tracks your sleep, maybe helps a little bit with fitness stuff is great. I personally like this because it is the smallest one. And nowadays I don't even really use it for sleep tracking that much. I more so use it for health tracking. You know, the app will notify me and to stand up, maybe get some steps in when I'm working too much. So love it for that. All right, next essential for me as an entrepreneur is definitely going to be notebooks. I essentially use these to kind of journal, write down my thoughts, write down notes, any client meetings, client notes, any sort of brainstorming, mind mapping. I also use these for task as my to-do list. Each one comes with like the day, and you know, I just go in and write all my tasks for the day. That's pretty much it. What I would suggest is you buy a nice one. These ones are from this brand called Moleskine. Pretty popular. It's almost in every bookstore. They're a little bit expensive, but I do find that they actually hold up for a long period of time. The leather doesn't wear out as easily as some of the cheaper brands. And because it's expensive, I kind of tend to treat it a lot nicer than just like a dollar store notebook. Next up, definitely not an essential for every entrepreneur or business owner, but it is definitely essential for me. This is my Ember mug. And all this thing really is a fancy cup warmer. I'm somebody that loves to drink a lot of coffee, a lot of tea throughout the day, and I love my beverages warm, if not hot. And because I'm such a slow drinker, I find myself going to the microwave every few minutes to reheat my beverages. So this kind of avoids all of that, saves me a ton of time. I'm somebody that intermittent fast. I don't really eat till 2, 3, so definitely drinking and sipping on things, keeping me hydrated throughout the mornings for sure while I'm working, an absolute essential for me. Okay, essential number 4, and this isn't really one particular item, but I kind of want to categorize this as good tech. So right here, I have my iPhone, my MacBook, and these are the primary things I use to work. And what I recommend to every entrepreneur is invest in the best tech possible if you can. When I was first starting out, I can't tell you how many times I hated the piece of hardware that I was working with. I would have a cheap, crappy laptop. I would have to wait. It would always bog down. It was always dying. And since I've upgraded, never had to think about those things. It makes me a lot more productive, and it genuinely makes work faster. So whether you're doing video editing, screen shares, recording tutorials, just a lot of processing, I highly recommend getting good tech if you can afford it. The cost of having bad tech is too high for you, and I think over the long run, just having good pieces of technology that help you get your work done are an absolute essential. All right, next up, I'm going to cheat a little bit here, and again, it's not going to be one specific item, but it is an absolute essential for any entrepreneur or anybody that, you know, sits on a desk and work, which is a clean, nice, simple work setup. I'm going to throw some B-roll of my desk setup here. It's pretty simple. It's pretty clean. There's no distractions. All I do is sit here and work. What I would recommend is that you get a monitor because it makes everything better, and having multiple screens is definitely really handy when it comes to working on multiple files, multiple projects. And again, it's cool. You don't have to strain your eyes looking into a tiny laptop screen. What I highly recommend though is that you invest in a good chair or seating arrangement. Why? You're going to be sitting on there for hours on end as an entrepreneur. So you want to make sure whatever you're sitting on is comfortable and that you can spend lots of hours there without, you know, having back pain. So definitely an essential. My next essential kind of goes with the good working home environment, is going to be a co-working space. Now, I just talked about having a desk set up at home that's nice and comfortable. Why would you need a co-working environment if you have that? Well, for me, I find it really helpful to have a place that's dedicated for work that's outside of my house. You know, we're entrepreneurs. It's a lonely journey. A lot of the times you're working by yourself. You're on the computer for hours on end. It's nice to get out of the house, work with other people, network, and a co-working space is great for that. For me, also, there's an added benefit. I have a completely remote team, so I don't really get to work with other people. That's a social aspect that I kind of miss. So going into a co-working and, you know, networking with other entrepreneurs is great. So another reason for me paying for a co-working, even though I have a space at home, is that it keeps me accountable. When I go into a co-working and I see other people working, there's kind of a social pressure for me to work. So I feel that I am a lot more productive when I'm in a dedicated office space. I can't just be, you know, goofing around watching YouTube videos all day because I'm kind of scared of people looking at my screen, judging me. So it keeps me focused and gets me doing my tasks. My next essential for business owners entrepreneurs, startup owners is going to be using a business bank, not just, your big bank that serves everybody. I'm talking about a specific bank that is catered to small business owners, startups, and entrepreneurs. The one I like to use is Mercury. I'm not affiliated with them. They just do a great job. The reason I love using Mercury is because they have a ton of features that are suited for business owners. Some of the best ones that I find really useful are separate sub accounts. This is really cool. I can have different accounts for different projects in my business itself. I can assign different cards to different employees, set limits, automatically pay people, have access to VC funding, startup funding. So all these different slew of features, which makes paying people, getting paid, and running a business very, very simple, especially at a beginner stage. So can't recommend them enough. All right, next up, in the same breath as banking, I highly recommend that every single entrepreneur out there go get a business credit card if you don't have one already. As an entrepreneur, you have tons of operating expenses, whether it's employees, software, office supplies, all those things. You want to run them through a business credit card because you're going to be earning points. That's the main benefit. And you could use those points for things like travel, which comes really in handy when you're planning, team retreats, or you're trying to fly to business meetings all across the world. If you pick the right card, and it really depends where you live, you can also get a lot of accesses like lounge, maybe some free flight upgrades, hotel upgrades. So credit cards, fantastic. So yeah, as a business owner, you have a lot of expenses. Get a business card. I like to throw mine on my Apple Pay. I have like 6 or 7 of them. I try and optimize on points. There's loads of points people that, teach you how to optimize them. Learn about it. It's a great game. All right, next up on the list is going to be candles and aroma diffusers. So anything that, makes your space smell better. Kind of like the other essential of having a good workspace. I think these things really elevate that space. If you're sitting at your desk working for a little bit, great way to just enhance the mood, get those creative juices flowing. It's just something that makes your space a little bit more welcoming. It makes sitting at your desk for 8-10 hours a little bit easier, and I absolutely love it. In the summertime, I'm using this aroma diffuser. In the wintertime, I love candles. So great way to upgrade your workspace for a relatively cheap amount. Alrighty, next up we have every entrepreneur's favorite thing, which is books. But I have a different perspective than most entrepreneurs when it comes to books. So I actually don't like nonfiction reading unless I have a specific problem that I'm trying to tackle. Sometimes you can get into that space where you're just learning for the sake of learning and you're not actually absorbing anything. I find that's a big problem in the entrepreneurship community. So I only read nonfiction when there's a specific thing that I'm trying to learn or solve. So right now I'm trying to, grow this YouTube channel. So I'm learning about things like storytelling. So I'll go pick up this book. Earlier, I was trying to build better habits. So I picked up Atomic Habits. So again, only picking up books when I have a real need for them. Otherwise, I love to pick up and read fiction books. These are great because at the end of the day, you've been working, you've been learning all day. The last thing you want to do is take in more information or have to think critically. So at the end of the day, I love to come home and wind down with something, fiction, maybe a good story, and, take my mind off of work. All right, so the last essential for me, and this is going to be an absolute essential for everybody else in 2023 and beyond, is going to be good microphones. And it doesn't really have to be expensive, but it has to be good. I can't tell you how many times I've been on a call or a Zoom call and the person on the other side has terrible audio and it makes talking to them an absolute pain. Regardless of what you do as an entrepreneur or business owner, I think this is just an essential. It helps the other person that's listening to you. And I'm sure there's probably some study out there that says, having better audio helps with conversion rates, regardless of what you're doing, whether it's sales, marketing, HR, whatever it is. It's just the professional thing to do. And I think everybody should go out there and do it. Obviously, this podcasting mic is probably the gold standard out there, but if you can't go afford it, this is a pretty cheap option. I started out with this. It's a blue snowball microphone, I think less than $100. If you can't afford this, just like standard wired headphones will do good. Just make sure they have good audio and the incoming audio is good. And those are my 10 essentials. Those are the things that help me out every single day. They've helped me over the last few years. I'm sure I'm going to do another list like this in a few years, but if you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow it. Come on, help me out, guys.